Why are your intros so hard? Hey guys, it's Tiffany and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you guys what I do with my wet sticks, nodes, things like that when they come in the mail, my more plant rehab type things. If you have watched my previous video, which I will link at the end of this, you will know that I just opened a couple of nodes that I got in the mail and I'm going to show you guys what I do with them. So let's get right into it. First things first, the girl who sent these to me did take very good care of them. She did put a note in here to say that said to give it a 24-hour rest period before attempting to repot. However, they're very dry. This one doesn't even fit in the container that she gave, and it's starting to dry out. So I am actually going to put them in something similar. I'm going to use the same exact thing, just a different container. So it's kind of like taking this and just picking it up and putting it somewhere else. Just take Bikini Bottom and move it somewhere else. That's basically what's happening. I found these at the dollar store. So what I am going to do is basically take the moss and everything that these guys are in, and I'm going to put them right into these new containers. So please forgive me while I open these. I'm going to wash these first, and after I get them open, and I will be right back. Alright guys, I am back. I have two of these little containers that I got at the dollar store. They're just clear little plastic containers. I'm going to explain to you what I use and why I use it. So I do have a bag of sphagnum moss back here. It's not the best, but it is what I had access to at the time. Luckily these came in sphagnum, so I don't even need to use this, but this is the one that I have, and it just got everywhere when I squeezed the bag, so it's fine. Anyway, I'm just basically going to take these guys and move them over to a new container. Alright, so first of all, this one's still somewhat wet at the bottom, or moist. I don't want to say wet, because wet's probably wet is a bad word in the plant community, so I'm not going to say wet. So when you guys get these, you need to find out where the nodes are actually, like the root points are. I don't see any like new growth stuff, so I'm actually going to just put this in there how I received it. And even this isn't long enough, so that's real good. That's real good. That's close. There we go. Okay, got it wedged in there. I might need to add some more sphagnum, but guess what? I can take some from this, I guess, because it doesn't need as much. Alright, and then I'm just going to take this one, carefully pull it out, and dump that in here. So I love how she just reused stuff. Like this is Del Monte. This is just like a fruit cup, and this one is just a plastic cup that she cut the top off of. I'm actually going to move some of that in there because this little guy doesn't need too much. So with this one, you can actually see it's got a root on it already, but it also has a little tiny growth point. So I got to make sure that that growth point is pointing forward. Wow, pointing up. I was going to say forward, but so I'm going to get the root in there. Probably going to pick up some sphagnum. Get the root in there and then cover it back up, making sure that the node is still on top of the sphagnum. Do not cover the node completely. It will not get any air. It will not get, it'll get air, but it won't get any light. You need to make sure that you are giving that the space that it needs. Alright, so generally what I would do is spray these down with like a mister, but the actual sphagnum is still pretty moist, so I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, so right now this is what these guys look like. We've got our little philodendron mame. I don't know. I like mame. I say mammy and it makes me sound like, well, you know. So, we've got this little guy, and then we've got this albosingonium wet stick in there. So, that's all I'm going to do with those. This stuff I'm going to set to the side, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what I do with my other guys. So, give me 1 second, and I will get those. Okay, guys, so I did end up actually misting these guys because especially the syngonium stick looked like it was getting a little dry, so I want to show you a couple things, a couple different ways that I do this. So this one obviously is where you keep the roots separated. Alright, what you're going to do after you have that all separated is you're actually going to find a plastic bag. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this guy, you're going to stick it there, you're going to take this guy, and you're going to stick it over there. So these guys are perfectly in here. Basically what I'm doing is I'm creating a humidity bag because these are tropical plants. They like it to be humid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray a little bit in there. Okay? And then I'm going to close it up. Just a little bit for right now. And in the center of the bag, I'm actually going to make sure it's not zipped all the way. And I'm going to blow air into it. And there you go. You've got an atmosphere and a humidity bag for your new nodes. So, this is one way of doing it. Now, again, this is the way that I prefer at the moment. So, keeping these guys separated because you don't want their roots to intertwine so that you cannot pull them apart. But there are other ways of doing this as well. So, here's one of my bags. Another way of doing it, which is what I did with these guys, if you can see, probably not, is I just took the moss and I just put everybody in there. Put the moss in the bottom of the bag and then put all the little sticks in there. So, luckily with this one, I won't show you that one, this one's better. So this one does have a little growth point on it, so this has been in there for about a week. This is from a plant that I got in the mail that lost all of its leaves, just they all yellowed. Everything was dying off, and so I cut it off. It's actually a Scindapsus Pictus silvery Ann. So I got another one in the mail, which was doing really badly, poorly, but it does have the leaves on it still, so I am leaving that one alone. The other one I had to cut up and propagate, so I'm working on that. But this is another method you can use. Okay, that's another method. And then the other way you can do things is, or another way you can do things is I got this guy in the mail. I'm going to show you all my tips and tricks here because I've got a lot of things. So this is kind of like my propagation shelf or like my recovery shelf, I guess. It does have a light underneath of this, but you probably can't even see right now. It does have a light under here, a grow light, but it was kind of interfering with the camera, so I did turn it off for the time being. Alright, so again, you've got this one, which has got the moss at the bottom of the bag. You've got this one, which you have your two separate little dishes. And then you have this way, if you actually have a plant that comes with a viable leaf. So, this one came with, this is a rehab plant. The guy actually told me it would be a rehab, so this is the condition it showed up in. It hasn't perked up at all, but we do have this little guy on the back. So I think I'm doing something. The only problem is it is not rooted. It has not rooted whatsoever. So I'm trying to make sure that I keep this down in there far enough so that the node can be covered and potentially root for me. So that's where this guy is at. Trying to make sure it's all the way down in there. This also is in sphagnum. We're just keeping it in the humidity bag because this is actually a Philodendron fibrosum type. So that just means that it is not a fibrosum, but it is similar to one. So, or it's very, very close. So I guess they just didn't come up with a new name for it. I'm not sure. This is one of the plants that I don't know the most about. Most of my other stuff I'm like really on. This one doesn't really have much published about it. I guess it's because it's not like an original, it's a type. But yeah, so that's another way. It's filled up with moist sphagnum. And then I kind of put the guy in there far enough down that the node is covered by the sphagnum so that hopefully it will root sometime. But it does have a leaf coming out, so I'm hoping that this guy will be okay. And then, again, just like the others, going inside the bag. And then the reason you blow it up is so that, one, it gets enough air, but two, with this one specifically, you don't want the size of the bag, like, suffocating the leaf. So you blow into it so that it can actually have its own atmosphere. And guess what, little guy? I brushed my teeth. So you shouldn't get some, who knows. the air is probably still pretty stale in there. At least it's minty fresh. So that's another way. The next way, which I've seen quite a bit, I've seen this way quite a bit, is a Chinese takeout container. So, same principle as before. Sphagnum moss bed, and then your wet stick. So this one particularly actually came off of the fibrosum. When I got the fibrosum, it wasn't doing so hot. Obviously, it was a rehabbed plant, or a rehab type situation. So it wasn't doing so hot. So I did cut off the bottom stem. But it does have a node and a growth point on it. So I'm covering the node, making sure the growth point is facing upwards, making sure the node is surrounded by sphagnum, and I'm leaving it alone. Okay? This is just moist sphagnum with, I swear I hear my cat. Oh, he's over there in the corner. Sorry. Keep that nice and moist and seal that up, and you've got yourself that. So you've got a couple different ways here so far to do this. So that's one other way. The last way I have is if your plant, and this one's not optimal how I dealt with this one, but it's what I have in the space and time that I am in. Because obviously, you know, I can't just go out and get whatever I want, so I'm using what I have here. This one, yet another plastic cup situation. But this is a Philodendron gloriosum. And I'm so excited to have it. I got it in the mail at a time where, oh, I just needed some happy and some hope in my life. Okay guys, so I just filmed that entire thing. I finished the video and everything and realized my memory card was full. So, no idea where I left off. So we're just going to start with the gloriosum. And if I miss something, then I miss it. So, it came to me in a time where I really needed it. So, basically the only thing that was going on was I got some bad news at work and I was trying to go out of town. I'm not out of town, but I wasn't going to be home the next day to be able to physically pick this guy, like, take it inside, and everything was just going wrong, and I went to the post office, tried and pick it up, because it said it was at the post office, and they just told me, well, where's your pickup slip? If you don't have one, you can't take it. So I left, and I came home, and about 20 minutes later, this guy was on my doorstep, and I could not have been more happy. I needed a little pick-me-up, and it provided it for me, so I really love this little guy. I needed you. Anyway, so this is the last way that I actually rehab plants, and this is just taking the cutting basically that I got, and I stick it in just it's plain soil. When it came to me, it still had soil around the roots, so I knew it had been in soil. So I try to keep it as close to what it was originally in as possible in order to avoid shock as much as possible. So this guy came to me with soil around the roots, so I figured it was in soil, so I put it in soil. Okay guys, so this is editing me. I was putting the video together and I realized that the end of the video somehow got cut off. I don't know if my camera cut off. I don't know if the memory just stopped recording. Things happen. I get it. So here I am. I'm going to finish this up. So I put it in my soil mix that I will talk about in a later video. And I put it inside the clear cup. And yes, it's a smoothie cup. I just reused. Why not? The reason I put it in here is so that I can actually see root growth throughout the actual plant without ever having to uproot it. So through this method here, I can actually keep my eye on roots so that I can make sure that they're not rotting without disturbing the plant ever. This setup here isn't ideal. So first of all, this guy's tilting up because the grow light for this guy is above him, so I guess he's just rotating so he can go upwards towards it. But I would ideally have this in a bag just like I have my other ones. However, I don't have a bag that's big enough and I kind of have to work with what I have right now. So ideally I would take this cup and just put it inside of a massive bag and do the same thing as I've done with my other propagations. I'm pointing there because that's where my bookshelf is right now. So you're just seeing the other side of my room. But yeah, so this is the gloriosum and it's doing great. It's had some shipping damage, but we're coming back. I don't know if this leaf is going to survive or not. It was coming out, I guess, before I got it, but now it's definitely like, it just doesn't look like it's doing so hot. So I will figure that out at some point, but it seems like it's doing okay. So thank you guys for staying tuned. Thank you guys for watching to the end. I really do appreciate it. If you like this video, give me a like and a subscribe down below. Leave a comment. I would love to hear from you guys. Maybe some things that you would like to get from me, content ideas, so basically anything that you're interested in, any questions you might have, because I could do a Q&A video type thing at some point. So just let me know what you guys want to see, and I will make it happen. Thanks, guys. Bye.